They expect us to drink it, which I don't think is fit to drink.
Tonight, a New Brunswick community has had it with its water shortage.
It's kind of a sad day, and so many people are feeling that way as they come through.
The last hurrah, Dartmouth prepares to bid adieu.
And Willie, free at last.
Now, from the #1 news team in Atlantic, Canada, the ATV Evening News.
Evening, everyone. I'm Jonathan Gravener.
And I'm Janice Landry. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Breaking news tonight, there's an armed standoff in North Sydney. Police have surrounded a home where apparently inside is a man who is armed with a high-powered rifle. At least one shot has been fired, but so far no word on if there are any injuries.
It appears there are no hostages involved. The incident began just about an hour ago. We have a news team on the scene and will bring you developments as they happen. And in other news tonight, people in Blacks Harbour, New Brunswick are angry. They're upset because they have to pay for water they say is not usable.
Now, the problem's been going on there for nearly 6 months now. The water is brown and it tastes bad, and so far no one is saying why. ATV Sally Cummings is standing by now with details. Sally?
Well, Jonathan, at the end of last summer, there were a lot of communities around the province that had similar water problems. Now, most of them were resolved, except in Blacks Harbour, and residents still have many unanswered questions.
This is one that was washed in water from Blacks Harbour. It was originally this color.
Residents want to know what is staining their clothes and leaving behind a black scum on everything.
My wife just finished scraping this out today.
There's brown specks all through it. I don't know if you can really see it, but I mean, it worries me because there's a lot of kids in Blacks Harbour, and I mean, if they're starting to get infections, bladder infections and kidney infections and stuff, I mean, it's starting to worry a lot of people.
They're concerned their water may be a health risk.
I have 3 children, and we give them a bath and the next day it's back, like in different areas on their body. So that's why, I'm really concerned. I wish, if it's the chlorination that's doing this, I wish they'd stop.
Donna McCrae says her 2 young boys have developed mysterious rashes, and her 2-year-old daughter has a yeast infection. The village has conducted several tests, but hasn't been able to determine the source of the problem.
We are doing everything possible. We're working with the Department of Health and the Department of Environment to solve this problem. We know we have a problem, and as of Friday, we shut our chlorination off again. We're doing more tests next week.
A water expert is exploring the possibility that problems could be linked to the local fishing industry. Yeah. But residents are tired of guessing and are circulating a petition demanding some answers.
So far, I had 122 names on my list.
Residents say they have the highest water bills in the province at $580 a year, and they say they shouldn't have to pay for the last 4 months since their water problems started.
I'm like everyone else. I pay a water bill too. I mean, I live in this village, and I pay the same thing that they pay.
Well, we'd like an explanation of exactly what is wrong with the water.
Now, probably for the first time ever, the public is going to attend the Village Council meeting coming up on Wednesday, January 17th, to discuss their concerns. And in the meantime, they're going to do some more testing on the water, and a water expert is expected to hand over his report on possible sources of the contamination and what they can do about it to the village tomorrow.
Okay, we'll be looking for those results. Thanks, Sally.
You're welcome.
The freezing cold temperatures this weekend have been keeping maritime plumbers busy.
This is an electric thawing machine that puts an electric current through the pipe.
Plumbers are advising you to keep a low heat on around any water pipes, or keeping your taps running slightly to prevent pipes from freezing.
For a draft coming in, like in the basement, or if there's a draft hitting the pipe, you should maybe plug that up with some insulation and just insulate the pipe. That foam insulation is real good too. Just make sure, and if you have a problem, just find out what the problem is and put some insulation or heat tape on it, and you shouldn't have any more problem.
Plumbers don't recommend using a torch to thaw out your pipes. That may catch something on fire. A hairdryer is safer, and if all else fails, you should call in the experts.
New Brunswick Premier Frank McKenna thinks it's important Canada's provinces participate in federal trade initiatives. He says this year's Team Canada Asian Tour will be less effective because the premiers of Quebec, Saskatchewan, and Alberta are skipping this swing through India, Pakistan, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Meanwhile, Prince Edward Island Premier Catherine Callbeck says she sees great potential for island agricultural products in the Far East. And in Nova Scotia, Premier John Savage says it's becoming increasingly important to drum up business for his province in other parts of the globe.
We've had some 10 companies doing business with Korea. We've got opportunities in China that we may be capitalizing on in March. And I'm not sitting home waiting for jobs to come. I'm going out talking about Nova Scotia, talking about the opportunities, and that's what this is about.
That trade mission leaves in a few days. And in other news this weekend, Prince Edward Island truckers are patiently waiting for the day when the fixed link will open. Officials of the Island Truckers Association say the movement of goods on and off Prince Edward Island has been growing steadily, and the ability to load and go is becoming more and more important for the industry. They say Marine Atlantic ferry crews do a great job, but even they can't prevent waits of up to 8 hours because of weather or traffic volume.
Dartmouth police went door to door today to try and dig up clues in the Shannon Bright case. Officers admitted yesterday that they are now treating the death of the 26-year-old university student as a homicide. Bright went missing on the night of December the 23rd after he failed to return home after a walk. His frozen remains were found early Wednesday morning. An autopsy suggests foul play. However, police say results will not be made public. Anyone with any information on the case is asked to call Dartmouth Police or Crime Stoppers.
Meanwhile, there was no crime involved in the sudden death of a man whose body was found in his Glace Bay apartment yesterday. Cape Breton Regional Police say an autopsy today ruled out foul play in the death of Bernard Scott. The 35-year-old man was discovered dead on his sofa by a neighbor. Scott lived alone in an upstairs unit of an apartment house in the town's south end.
Halifax police are looking for help in locating another missing man. 23-year-old Christopher McAvoy was last seen 2:30 Saturday morning while dropping off a friend on Connaught Avenue. He was supposed to drive home afterwards, but still hasn't returned. His parents say this is out of character for him. McAvoy is listed at about 5 feet 10 inches tall, 165 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. He was last seen wearing beige pants, a beige bomber jacket, suede winter boots, and a green and beige plaid shirt. He was driving his father's 1995 dark green Ford Taurus. It's a four-door sedan with Nova Scotia license plate number BWX799. Anyone with any information is asked to call Halifax Police or Crime Stoppers.
Meanwhile, in St. John, New Brunswick, police are also searching for a missing man. 55-year-old James Malcolm Byers has been missing since December 28th. He wears glasses, has partially gray hair, a fair complexion, and slight build. Byers is just under 6 feet tall and when last seen was wearing a red, white, and blue jacket, a ball cap, and black dress shoes. Anyone with information is asked to call St. John Police. And police are investigating an armed robbery this weekend. 2 masked men armed with a shotgun held up Maritime Billiards in the Burnside Industrial Park. They forced 2 patrons into the washroom and robbed the lone employee. The duo made off with an undisclosed amount of cash. This is the pool hall's second holdup in recent months.
The Westray public inquiry resumes tomorrow after a 5-week Christmas break. 4 former coal miners are expected to take the stand in the coming days of this inquiry. The Nova Scotia Supreme Court judge heading the probe, Judge Peter Richard, left off in November with testimony from mining consultants who studied the causes of the disaster. The inquiry is attempting to determine exactly what happened in that 1992 underground blast that killed 26 Westray coal miners. It was a last hurrah for the city of Dartmouth and Mayor Gloria McCluskey today. The city held its last New Year's levee before amalgamation in April. As ATV's Dan McClellan shows us tonight, it was a day of mixed emotions.
They came out to wish each other a happy new year and to celebrate the season. They also came out to say goodbye. This marks the last New Year's levee for the city of Dartmouth before it's amalgamated into the new super city. It also marks the end for outgoing Mayor Gloria McCluskey. Mayor McCluskey chose not to run for mayor in the new amalgamated city, and while she says she doesn't regret that decision, she also feels a bit saddened by the occasion.
Of course, they're still telling me they wished I was staying, but they're feeling very sad too. People have come today that have never come before because it's the last one. They want to be here.
The new mayor of the super city says Mayor McCluskey will be missed in municipal politics. Longtime friend Walter Fitzgerald says she was always a booster of her city and its people.
Well, she's done an excellent job. I'm just sorry that she's not going to be on the team that starts a new era in the municipal development of our municipality and our region. She'll be close to it, I'm sure, and watching it and ready to offer any assistance she can.
The man who spearheaded the move towards amalgamation was also somewhat nostalgic today. Before winning the Liberal leadership and becoming Premier, John Savage was elected to 2 terms as Mayor of Dartmouth.
I feel a little sad too at the thought that there won't be any council. But remember, there'll be a Dartmouth.
Joan Chipman has been a resident of Dartmouth for over 30 years and has always tried to make it to the city's annual levee. She says it's one she'll miss.
This one's extra special to me. I've been in Dartmouth for more than 30 years, so it feels like home to me.
New Year's levees are traditionally a very happy time, but at this one there is a real sense of nostalgia as the sun sets on the city of Dartmouth and a new era in municipal politics begins. In Dartmouth, Dan McClellan, ATV News.
A Nova Scotia businessman may have the solution to Halifax's search for a soundstage. Peter Hendrickson, owner of Tortec, a large lighting and sound company, has acquired a huge building in Dartmouth's Burnside Industrial Park. The provincial government appears ready to back down from plans to remodel the old power plant in Halifax if Tortec's building can be used as a soundstage. Hendrickson says his building will be used as practice space for large-scale musical acts that come to the region. Last night, Tortec held a huge party at the location where the who's who of the maritime music industry turned out to party. Many artists, including the Barry McNeils and Ashley McIsaac, performed as a way of recognizing the work Tortec does for the music industry. All the proceeds from last night's party will go to a cause near to us here at ATV, Christmas Daddies. We'd like to thank all the people of Tortec for their generous support year-round of Christmas Daddies. It looks like it was a great time there.
Yeah, it looks like a great time.
Yeah.
We weren't there.
I know, unfortunately, I would love to have gone on.
Well, let's check in with our meteorologist, Phil McLaughlin, with our first fast look at the weather. Phil?
Right, guys. Well, our first weekend of the new year brought us a nice solar Sunday across much of the Maritimes, albeit cold with those frozen temperatures out there. Let's pull up the satellite image, and there's the powerful winter storm we've been following now out over the western Atlantic, and it's coming our way. So following a solar day, will we have a snowy Monday? Well, when I'm back on the half hour here on ATV, I'll have your complete weather prognosis for the Maritimes here on ATV, your best weather channel for the Maritimes. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Phil. Still ahead tonight, news from around the world.
But up next, back to life, a Cape Breton ski hill is back in business after 2 years. We'll tell you all about that right after this short break.
A message from the past has been unveiled in Cleveland. The city has opened a time capsule that was buried in 1896. In that year, a group of women used the time capsule to record their lives, their accomplishments, and their frustrations. Among their questions to the women of the 20th century, they ask if the North Pole has been found and if flying machines have been invented. As part of the city's bicentennial, a group is now being formed to organize a time capsule that will be opened in the year 2096, and I wonder what the questions are that they'll put in for that one.
Well, I'm not going to ask him right here on air anyway. Well, crime is certainly an ongoing problem in many neighborhoods here in the Maritimes and right across North America.
In Southern California, a crime-fighting volunteer is giving new meaning to the phrase neighborhood watch. As Jim Hill tells us, this feisty woman with a Boston accent has become a legend for her nightly patrols.
C20 watch 5, 14C20 watch 5, come in.
It's nighttime on the streets of Venice, California, and Boston Donna is on the job.
I was looking for crooks.
In the past 20 years, this queen of neighborhood watch has caught plenty of crooks and the attention of her neighbors.
There was this woman who I didn't know in a bathrobe and bear slippers holding these 2 guys down on the ground, and I just asked if she needed help, and she said no, and I said, fine, have a good day.
A good day starts just before dark for Boston Donna, which is not her real name. Armed with a police scanner and handcuffs, a cell phone, and a searchlight, she makes her rounds, checking on the welfare of neighbors.
85-year-old woman.
And their property.
Garage doors that are open. Windows that aren't normally open. Front doors, back doors that aren't normally open.
In her neighborhood, no money, no job, no place to stay means no welcome.
You're better off going that way. A lot of the cops think I'm nuts. A lot of the cops like me. They've had many arrests from me. Without offices like this, I can't do what I do.
If we had more citizens like her, we'd probably be out of a job.
He's got to be up. He's here.
With a sharp eye, she watches, and with her Boston accent, passes on to police everything from suspect and car descriptions to license plate numbers.
I get concerned more times than you know when she does what she does, and it's kind of hard to keep a hold of her because she is so community active, but what can we do? I mean, Donna is Donna.
The civilian crime fighter says she's assisted in more than 100 felony arrests, and she's inspired others to try to make their neighborhood felony-free.
I basically am involved because Donna is so committed. So, you know, you see somebody who's that committed, you go, okay, I got to help once in a while.
You feel safe walking around here now because of Donna.
So many neighbors feel that way. Donna's work is supported by their donations and a hope that the sun will not soon set on the Donna Patrol.
Okay, let's go, folks. Let's go catch some criminals.
Jim Hill for CNN, Venice, California.
So one person can make a difference. And still ahead tonight, Phil is in with one last look at the weather.
And then Willie is headed for a new home. We have a whale of a story right after this break.
Hey, Dad, want some cereal?
Not now, thanks. I've got to finish this song.
Baby, you're so honey, honey, you're so
Nutty.
'cause honey, you're so nutty. Hey, the taste of honey and nuts. We're gonna tempt you, Tommy, with the taste of nuts and honey. It's a honey oven, oh.
It's Honey Nut Cheerios.
The best advice was from my mother, who said everything has to be spotless. If I can't get stains out of my tablecloths, it's a real problem.
Tide challenged Tony Loschiavo, owner Elite Catering, to put new Tide with stain releasers to the test and let his tough stains set in for 7 days.
I thought they were kidding. These stains are so bad they're stuck. Coffee, chocolate, red wine's a killer to get out. If I don't wash these right away, they'll be finished.
These stains have set in for 7 days. Don't settle for the results of the next leading detergent, when now new stain releaser Tide gets out more set-in stains than ever before.
Amazing. Tide got out the set-in stains that I thought were there for good.
New stain releaser Tide. Fresh thinking on set-in stains.
Everything looks perfect, just the way I like it.
Ordinary dryer sheets don't have what Bounce has. Bounce has 25% more static fighting power than the ordinary brands, so it helps you avoid those embarrassing situations. Bounce, the static stopper.
Sounds fantastic.
Because of exciting new changes at Sounds Fantastic, they have to take inventory. And of course, they'd rather sell it than count it. So that means one-of-a-kinds, overstocks, demos, white elephants, all up to 50% off, with full manufacturer's warranty and 100% satisfaction guaranteed on all sales. Because no sale is final at Sounds Fantastic, Barnacourt Street, Moncton.
Sounds fantastic.
Country music singer George Strait has launched a huge hunt for his missing blue heeler dog named Buster. The 8-year-old blue-gray dog disappeared from the country western star's South Texas ranch on December 27th. Buster might look familiar to some of you. He recently appeared with Strait in a series of Wrangler Blue Jean commercials, as well as on the cover of Strait's album, Easy Come, Easy Go.
Well, what's in a name? Simba is the animated hero of the movie The Lion King.
But Simba is also a dog from Fort Erie, Ontario that's the hero of a real-life drama. Alison Vushnik has the story.
Simba is a hero. Early this morning, he stood at his back door, barking and barking, until his owner, Ruth Longafee, figured out something must be wrong. She looked out her window and saw a man's body in the snow.
All we could hear was help, help, help.
Longafee says without Simba, she never would have spotted the man.
I came out my front door, went around back, and here was Mr. Albert Grace laying down in the snow. And he'd been struggling for quite a while because you could see where the imprint of where he was laying.
Albert Grace is Simba's 70-year-old neighbor. He had wandered away from the senior's home across the street and ended up behind Longafee's house, struggling in the snow.
With all my strength in that, I finally got him up on his feet. Well, he really didn't know what he was doing or where he was going or even what was happening. And I kept saying, come on, Albert, we got to get you home. You can do it. No, I'm going to die, he kept saying. I said, no, you're not. We're going to get you home. So
Longafee dragged Grace back to his home and wrapped him in blankets. When the paramedics arrived, they said if Simba hadn't reacted and been so relentless, his elderly neighbor would have died. Grace had been outside in the freezing temperatures for close to 3 hours. Grace is being treated at Douglas Memorial Hospital in Fort Erie and is in fair condition.
Great story. Here's Phil now with our last look at the back-to-work weather forecast. Phil?
Yes, and two questions I've been getting today. How much snow and how long will the cold last? Well, the cold weather looks like it will last right through this week coming up, I'm afraid to say. The Arctic air mass will still be upon us. So here's an update again of the weather system coming up the Western Atlantic. The powerful winter storm. Now, my U.S. weather colleagues are referring to this system out here in the Atlantic as it pushed across the eastern part of the U.S. as the blizzard of '96. And, of course, they've had a lot of snow in some parts of the U.S. today and good winds and blowing snow as well. And we can see its trajectory is coming up the Western Atlantic. And looks like it will skirt to the south of the Maritimes, and the question mark is how much snow will it deposit across the southern Maritimes. So to wake up tomorrow to start off to work, off to school, sunshine across much of the Maritimes, but clouds creeping in, of course, snow beginning in southwestern Nova Scotia tomorrow around daybreak and spreading along the coastline. Daybreak temperatures -25 to -10, and as I say down here tomorrow, particularly in the southern Maritimes, don't be otherwise tomorrow morning. Be weather-wise. Check the forecast if you're heading out in the highways and byways of the Maritimes across the southern portion as that system skirts along. So tomorrow's forecast map, as I say, lots of sunshine will be on the weather menu through the day, but this system skirting along the southern part of the Maritimes, bringing in the snow, and I'm saying 10 centimeters, probably more, depending on the track of the system, how close it comes to the Maritimes, and how slowly it moves along the coastline. Winds will pick up out of the northeast, gusting 40 to 70 kilometers per hour throughout the day, blowing snow, cold again today or tomorrow. So take it easy with the weather as we start the new week off tomorrow. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Phil. Let's take a look at ATV's primetime lineup for you tonight. Right after our show at 7 o'clock, it's Home Improvement. 7:30, my favorite, Seinfeld. 8 o'clock, America's Funniest Home Videos. 9 p.m., it's Lois and Clark. And the 10 o'clock movie tonight, Jack Reed, A Killer Amongst Us, starring none other than Brian Dennehy.
And tomorrow on Live at 5, as we approach a new century, post-secondary education faces many challenges. What to do about decreased funding? What about duplication of courses? It's going to require teamwork, so government, administrators, faculty, and students are coming together, seeking common ground right here tomorrow on Live at 5. Then at 6 with Brian Tobin apparently ready to return to Newfoundland as Premier, who's in line for the jobs he's leaving behind. Being federal fisheries minister is a job not just anybody would want. Fishing for a new minister Monday on the ATV Evening News at 6.
And finally tonight, there's lots of snow falling in the northeast and southeast U.S. And while some air travelers were grounded today, one large sea mammal was rather got off the ground today.
Yeah, Keiko is finally on his way to a new home. The orca, commonly known as a killer whale, became famous for his role, of course, in Willie in the hit movie Free Willy. Lucia Newman has more on Keiko's aerial adventure.
Operation Adios Keiko was a major logistical undertaking. Surrounded by his trainers and experts in transporting marine animals, the most famous whale since Moby Dick was put into a special sling. From there, hoisted by a crane into a railway container with water, foam rubber, and chopped ice. This to avoid dehydration during the 3.5-ton orca's 9-hour-long flight to the United States. To ensure his emotional health, 2 of his trainers will remain with him in Newport, Oregon for up to 6 months, equipped with Keiko's favorite toys and other items.
The buckets that we use in the show and everything, and our own wetsuits that he knows, you know. We have to take everything that he recognized and that that he knows that it's Mexico.
Keiko, known to movie lovers as Willie the Whale, was given a police escort worthy of a head of state as he left the amusement park that had been his home for the last decade. Despite the late hour, adoring fans of all ages were there to bid him a tearful farewell. Keiko's flight plan, from Mexico City to Monterrey, Mexico for refueling, then to Phoenix, Arizona for passing U.S. customs, and then finally Newport, his new home. Keiko's Mexican owners agreed to let him leave here because they could not provide a large enough pool or the mate that the whale so badly needs. It's also hoped the colder seawater in a new state-of-the-art marine mammal rescue and rehabilitation center in Oregon will help rid Keiko of a spreading case of viral warts. The orca's performing days, however, are over. The Free Willy Foundation, which launched the multi-million-dollar campaign to transfer Keiko to a better home, ultimately wants to see the 15-year-old orca set free to rejoin his original pod.
His pod was last seen 16 years ago, somewhere off the coast of Iceland. Something like finding a needle in a haystack.
Orcas are only accepted by their family pods. Indeed, the experiment that is about to begin will be an unprecedented test to see if man can undo what it creates when it domesticates a wild orca. A real-life adventure that may well surpass the movie. Lucia Newman, CNN, Mexico City.
Amazing story. Hope it all works out. That's our news for now. I'll be back at 12:30 tonight with all the latest local news, weather, and sports. I hope you are too.
And Jonathan and Phil and I will be back next weekend, Saturday at 6 o'clock, so please be here with us. Thanks for watching tonight and have a great weekend, what's remaining of it. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye for now.
Good night.